Hi, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Made Guards Well podcast. This is part of our interview series. Today, we are interviewing one of our newer members, Batman. Batman does not want her real identity out there for the world to see, so we're just going to call her Little Honey Sweetbread, Acorn, or
Batman.
or Batwoman, because it's just not registering in my brain.
No.
It's my Batman mask, but...
BatGod.
Yes.
Yes.
This is BatGod.
This is BatGod. The newest addition to
Nice to
the
meet you.
Yes. Oh boy. No, so let's go ahead and jump on in.
Alright, so, Batman.
Yeah.
What got you started into the whole Asatru community? Or here, let's even say what got you into the whole pagan side of things?
It's a very good question. Well, I grew up in a very Christian household. I went to Christian university and studied a lot into the Christian faith, and I never really liked it or could grasp it. Even from a young age, I would question how narcissist it was that there was only one God. I constantly questioned, how the world came and how, like Allie said in a previous podcast, how could a Christian God do so many things and theoretically hurt so many people in our lives? It just didn't seem fair. So I know, even though I grew up in it, I didn't really feel like I was in the right religion. Fast forward to when I met my husband, we kind of started off going to church in the Christian faith, and he never felt like the Christian faith was his faith either. And so he started on this path, and from a sideline view, I kind of started learning more about it, saw what it was truly about and how many gods there are, goddesses, Valkyries, and the more I listened to him, the more it made sense. And so we sat down and read the Havamal together, and it felt like the gods weren't dominating over us, that they were a part of our lives. They went through the same things we did, and it just made sense. And so I decided to kind of follow the path with him and haven't really looked back.
So how long would you say you've been doing this then?
Probably year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe truly devoted to it for maybe a year.
Okay. So what has it been like getting into the community for you?
Like, how easy has it been to get acclimated to things?
It's honestly been kind of hard. Aside from the kindred, when we first started trying to find members who shared this faith with us, we saw something on Facebook about a local kindred that was doing a lore study at one of the, a mystic bookstore or apothecary?
Eclectic.
I would
Eclectic.
say
It's an
Nicole.
eclectic bookstore.
And so we decided to go check it out, see if we could meet some like-minded people, and did not get really good vibes.
Ironically, this was the first time we met them, and we never actually talked to them because we were there too.
Yeah.
They sat across from us. It was adorable.
But
Weird. Yeah.
for after the lore study, we talked to the leader of the group and, asked him about the community asked if there were, any other kindreds in the area, and he told us point blank no, that they were the only ones in the area, that they were the only one, and that we were more than welcome to talk to them, and that they had a temple that was only open sometimes, usually on a Sunday, and I never got a good vibe. We met him several times afterwards, and he never remembered our names. Even though we had to introduce ourselves every single time, he acted like it was the first time he had met us, even if it had only been a week since we had seen him. And to me, that didn't seem very welcoming. I can understand not remembering a name, but if you can't even remember a face, and if you ever see my husband, he is not hard to...
He's memorable.
Yes.
Very.
So...
Okay.
So, for lack of better explanation, when we finally found Midgard's Well, it was actually at Pagan Pride Day. I was still devoted to trying to find other like-minded people in the area, and that I went on the Pagan Pride Facebook page and saw a list of other kindreds.
Mm-hmm.
First, I was upset because there are several kindreds in this area.
9 total.
But when I got to Midgard's Well's name, something just resonated with me, and it almost felt like my soul and the souls of Midgard's Well just kind of connected, and I went, yes, we need to meet these people.
And the ironic thing is, her husband had posted something on the discussion page for Kansas City heathenry, and I had been the first one to respond to him, and
I remember approving that post.
Yeah, and so we spent like the next day, because Pagan Pride Day was the next day, we spent like the whole day waiting for them, because we were like, we gotta talk to these people.
And as soon as I met Allie and Mike, it just felt right. It was welcoming. It was like our souls had known each other forever, and finally felt like home.
My heart.
And you guys spent like from the moment you got there on and off with us the entire time. Like every time they got up, so that other people could talk to us. I'm just sitting there like, wait, no, come back.
And we're on the other end going, we really want to go talk to them again, but we don't want to seem like those really crazy, needy people that just want to talk to you all day.
Because we did end up with a few of those, and it did not work out for the better. What do you want to bring to the community?
Oh, acceptance. To welcome anybody who wants to be on this path, regardless of ancestral descent. And I want, aside from heathen community, but the whole community in general, to know that we aren't bad people. We are really awesome. We do a lot of amazing things. And they shouldn't see somebody with a hammer and automatically be afraid.
So on that note, since your faith is so young, coming into it and suddenly you're surrounded by these people, surrounding a fire, some in costumes, sharing a horn of alcohol, what was, from coming from the Christian faith, how did you take it? This new practice that wasn't inside of a church and very organized.
That is a very good question.
Bravo room.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
It was really different, and I was really open to it because I like experiencing new things. It definitely was difficult to grasp being able to honor the gods in a way that wasn't like the Christian faith. You know, the big thing is, you know, praying and going to church on Sundays and having to get together and listen to somebody tell you about the gods, where when we're doing bloats around the fire or passing a horn of meat around, it's really a group effort. And we can't have someone leading the bloat. But we're all taking part in honoring either the chosen God for the night or all the gods in general. And that was a new concept that I really liked, and after I grasped the concept, was really able to get on board with, because it felt like there wasn't someone above the rest. We didn't have to be subservient to someone who was chosen to teach us. We teach ourselves, we teach each other, we come together as a group to honor the gods, or we can honor the gods at home. We don't have to go to church on Sunday in order to be heathen.
Good answer.
So a big word that goes around with the Christian community is fellowship. Again, because your faith is so young, have you had any experiences where you've missed the fellowship, where Christians find themselves at home because there's so many others? It's so easy to find someone else, and fellowship is easy to obtain. Have you found it difficult to find a community, a home, or fellowship with this community or this group?
Good questions now for the peanut gallery. Do you want to tap in or?
That is really good.
I mean, it would help with the microphone if you tapped in.
The
I'm trying to project. Hopefully it picks me up.
Oh no, it's picking you up, whether or not it's bouncing back to us correctly.
That's why I'm like pausing a second.
Right, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, sometimes it really is hard. Because being so new, and even in the Christian faith, relying on other people to teach you, or other people to tell you what's right or what's wrong, not being able to sit there and just listen to, let's say, a Sunday sermon, can be hard, though, especially in this group, with our kindred nights, you know, coming together. It almost is like a fellowship. And sorry, lost my train of thought. We do learn together, and it is easier for that transition, to have a kindred or to have other people in the community that you can talk to, bounce ideas off of. If you have questions about the Havamal or the Eddas or any saga that you read, finding somebody in the community to be able to talk to really helps. And even though we don't have church on Sundays, you can create your own fellowship to help bridge that gap. I am wanting to talk to you because you asked the question. Thank you.
Ooh, bright light.
But yeah, I think that it would be easier to learn quicker, I should say, if you had like a fellowship, but relying on the gods and looking into yourself to push it into learning more is the best thing you can do. And I don't think I miss the fellowship that much, especially now that I'm learning that I don't have to be in a room full of people to feel closer to the gods.
So a lot of people find a specific part of the Bible that really gives them comfort. A lot of people have very dirty, old, heavily highlighted Bibles that they use to always refer to. Is there a specific area that you find comfort in? Did you have a favorite part of the Bible, and now is there something that you have a favorite part of and what you follow now?
Well, actually, I mentioned earlier that I did go to a Christian university, and part of our freshman year classes is an intro to theology and an intro to the Bible. And basically, it's an entire semester class where you go from the front of the Bible to the back of the Bible, and you basically study every chapter, every verse, try and do basically your part to be able to memorize it.
That sounds gross.
But it helps you learn, especially in this faith, when people try and compare or pull scripture from, I have the knowledge to be able to go, well, actually, but even from a young child, and if you guys have seen the show Vikings, in I think the first season, Athelstan starts quoting Ecclesiastes, and ever since I was young, that's always been my favorite verse. And the part is like, there's a time to be born and a time to die, and in the Christian faith, they believe in, heaven and hell. When you die, if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. And some people are afraid of death. And with that verse, it reminds you, yes, you are going to be born. You are going to die at some point. And it's just a phase of life. And the thing that has brought me closure, especially in this religion, is aside from one realm, there really isn't a bad realm to go to. You're able to be with your family, you're able to kind of live your life after death, and there's no reason to be afraid. Death isn't the end of your life, and I think that's the most comforting, and knowing that what's the best way to put this? You can live your life the way you want to honorably, and you're not going to be stigmatized or damned for all eternity if you don't make the perfect decisions.
Good answer.
Probably. It was making me think of Lord of the Rings, but in Return of the King, where Gandalf is all, death is just a chapter ending, just a door closing.
Well, of course, there's a direct correlation to
Well,
that
yeah,
and the Edda.
that's why I'm just like, it's Lord of the Rings. It's basically Norse mythology.
Basically.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got different story arcs and stuff,
Yeah,
but
but
they
J.R.R.
draw.
Tolkien
He
took,
drew,
like,
yeah,
entirely from
heavily,
the Edda.
heavily.
Fun fact, you know that the Dwarven language in Lord of the Rings is actually Hebrew based?
I believe it.
Yeah.
But he uses Elder Futhark for the letters.
Mm-hmm. Weird man. Yeah, well, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any more?
Trying to think of some of the stuff we put you through. How was initiation?
It was really easy. I'm just kidding.
It wasn't me.
It was a very easy process. Meeting with the kindred and learning what
Just keep going.
learning what they're all about. Especially with the knowledge, or I should say, the feeling of meeting their kindred members and just feeling like our souls have known each other before. I think that was probably the easiest part because I didn't feel like I was really initiating into anything. I just felt like I was being welcomed into the family I've always known, even though I had just met them a few months prior. And when it came down to the final initiation and oath night, it really just settled everything and cemented that, I'm here. I am here for all of you guys, and I'm going to do my best to honor everybody in the kindred and live life as well as I can. And when giving the oath, it just was a magical time. It kind of seems like a blur, but I can still remember it. What?
It was 2 weeks ago.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It's on Yule.
Yeah,
It was on
Roman.
the anniversary of Mike's.
Yeah. Initiation buddies, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
But
Like 2 weeks ago.
when I say a blur, Roman, I mean because of the magic that happened that night.
Yeah.
It just, I can remember the feeling of it, but it almost is like,
details are missing.
yeah, and it was like a spinning sensation of, I can remember being by the fire, I can remember the wind picking up, and that's about it. I remember Roman hugging me. And me high-fiving Mike.
Oh yeah.
Little Acorn.
Yeah.
Well, the naming ceremony was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
initiation was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Roman.
I'm sitting here like, I'm thinking of the naming ceremony right now too.
Yeah.
Because that's something unique we do within our kindred is we sit down, we give Chris a list of words he doesn't use, and to describe us, and then
God.
we normally give the words to Chris, simply because he puts a lot of time and effort into this, and he has the system down. For BatGods, we Roman actually did it, and it was a different ceremony. I'm not even gonna lie. You stood up, and I'm just sitting there like, what is Roman doing? And then he starts going through it and names little Acorn. What is the full translation?
Strong-willed Acorn.
Strong-willed Acorn. So that's what her name means in Old Norse. I cannot think of her name right now to save my life.
I was about to say, aside from Chris, I think we can all only pronounce our own.
No, I can pronounce several.
Well,
Yoko Björk, Krithmunu, Asaverder.
Astavor.
Thank you. I
Murder!
was Oh my goodness.
And it's Borgviljakarn.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that. I can't even pronounce my
Craft
name.
Lee. I can't do. I've got too much pressure at this point. Like,
Roman, try it again.
Borgviljakarn.
I was close.
You were close, yeah.
anywho's it's
Chris, say it with me.
Dinkelberg.
Anywho's it's we have all these Norse names, and it's something unique to our kindred because most kindreds will be like, we're gonna adopt animals, or we're gonna adopt Viking names, and we're just sitting over here like, we're gonna have Norse names because it's special to us. Thank you. That, and it really, the guys really put a lot of effort, and it really captures our essences when it comes down to it, like who we are at a base level.
Yeah.
Names we don't even use. But it's the capture that's important.
Exactly. And I mean, we don't use them typically.
For whatever reason.
We
use
can't
mine.
pronounce them.
I use mine specifically for that.
Because we all agreed on one day where we were just like, yeah, this is just gonna stay in the kindred, and then other days we're just like, we're gonna tell the world.
I thought it was like y'all were
YouTube.
YouTube. Because to my understanding, everybody was like, we're gonna keep it secret, like these are gonna be personal things, and then nobody told Mike, so I got mine, and I'm like, well, this is fucking cool. I'm putting it as my Facebook name, it's going as my Tinder profile. Everywhere.
I feel
I
like
am your Kilgar.
on some level that's catfishing. They're gonna think you're some like Icelandic dude who's foreign with an accent. They meet you. It's like, no, it's just a bearded
I
asshole
do
bartender.
get those questions from time to time, but I feel like my profile pretty much explains it.
There you go.
But you know,
So that was our interview with BatGod, aka Little Acorn. So like, comment, share, subscribe.
There are buttons in some direction that you can push
And thank you from Drinking
Yeah,
from
so-
the Well.
somewhere.